promised a little video from me just to talk to you about what's been going on in my life these past few months, because I've been so quiet on social media and I'm really aware of that, and I wanted to give you an update. But it's worth me mentioning, if you're not already on my mailing list, if you want to be on my mailing list and to keep up to date with what is going on in my life, just check out my links page, and if you scroll down to the bottom, there's a little caption box in there, so just put your details in there and then you'll get my emails and get my updates. But yeah, I've been really quiet, and here's why. So I'm always talking about the big dream, aren't I? I'm talking about the yacht, I'm talking about living in a hot country, I'm talking about the incredible house like right next to the sea. And when I say a yacht, I don't just mean any boat, I'm talking super yacht, right? So these dreams are massive, yeah? But in order to get those things, like in this 3D world where we live, and the way that we're programmed to think that those things would come into existence, would only be through working hard for those things, or through winning the lottery or some miracle, right? But here's the thing, when you become aware of energy, the law of attraction, and the fact that we are energy and we're always putting energy out into the world, then you start to realize that actually, if we can manipulate our energy, then we can create these things. Like anything that we want, we can create and bring into our reality in our world. And this is the path that I am on. So when I'm talking about those really big, massive dreams, those massive things, I am working on this. I'm going to create these, and I'm not working hard. I am not doing the 3D things that 3D people tell me to do. You've got to be consistent on Instagram, you've got to grow your business this way, these are the things that you have to do. No, I'm using my energy to do those things. And here's what I want to talk to you about, because when you're using energy to create your world, we all have energetic blocks that we don't even know about. We all have identities that we've lived by. We all have labels that we put on ourselves. We all have fears, worries, thoughts, beliefs, feelings going on inside us. And a lot of the time that we're not even aware of those. So obviously we know we live in more people now are aware that we live in a matrix, and as part of that matrix we're programmed to think certain things and believe certain things, right? Now here's the thing, we're conscious of a lot of that, but there's so much more going on beneath the surface we don't even know about, right? And when you start digging into that, then you start to realize why your reality now, why this life that you've got now is exactly as it is. You start to realize why things are always happening in your life. So one of the patterns I had, one of the experiences that always just happened in my life, is that I'd generate money into my life, right? But then as fast as it came, I would spend it. It was like I was pushing it away. It's like, I just couldn't hold on to this money. And this was a money pattern that I noticed that always sort of happened to me. And as part of this, I've been doing a lot of inner work. I've been trying to dive into my own subconscious blocks, my own energy, my own healing, to figure out what is going on. And one day, I don't know, it might be about, a few weeks ago, maybe 6 weeks ago now, I was doing a meditation on receiving. Wait, I don't think the meditation was on receiving, but as part of the meditation, it was a guided meditation, and it was like, think of a time when you've received something that you've really, really wanted. And I couldn't think of a time where I had received something that I really, really wanted. And I was like, surely there's something in my life that I've really wanted that I've received. But it was like there was a block. Something inside of me was saying, no, I'm not going to give you that memory. So I just sat with that for a while. And I was like, saying to my, why is this block? This is something I want to work through. This doesn't make sense, I've got an incredible life and I've got loads of incredible things. Why is this memory not coming up to me? And then it popped into my awareness, right? When I was 18, 19, my grandma's boyfriend, he was called Reg, he was absolutely such a beautiful man. He was so nice. He was the most generous person I knew in my life. He bought me a car. When I was 18, 19. So I bought my first car myself. It was a Nissan Micra. It was brown. I called it Howard, and I saved up £300 to buy myself my first car. And then Reg, bless him, because I'd always go around to see him and I had such a brilliant relationship with him. I used to take him all over. He said to me one day, let me take you to Carcraft and let's go get you a new car. I was like, oh my gosh, this is mad. Like, no one's ever done this for me before. Went to Carcraft, got this new car, drove back. And for some reason, you know, an experience like that is huge, isn't it? This should be like an experience that stayed in my awareness. This is something that should be a memory, a really fond memory. But for me, it was traumatic. I was like, why have I got so many mixed feelings over this incredible act of kindness that this beautiful man has just gifted me, this like incredible car. It was an absolute dream car. It was I think it was a Peugeot 106 or 206, and it had like a roof, you know, the roof that comes out, it was like an electric roof. It was silver, it was gorgeous, it was so nice, like leather seats and everything. Beautiful car. So here's the thing with this memory. When my mum found out that he'd bought me this car, I've got a brother, my brother's a couple of years older than me, but my brother didn't have the relationship with Reg that I had. But when my mum found out, she kind of kicked off a little bit because she wanted my brother to be treated the same. Understandably, because part of my mum's story was that my mum was one of two girls, and my mum always felt like, as the youngest, she was treated differently to her older sister. So part of her story was that because she felt like she was treated differently, she never wanted her children to be treated differently. So when she's got me, who's just been gifted like a 10 grand car, she wanted my brother to also be gifted the same. So my mum kind of kicked off. She wanted Reg to be able to spend the same amount of money on my brother as well to make it fair. And I understand why my mum, you know, that was her story. She needed to sort of heal that about herself, because then she made it about this situation with Reg. And then in my mind, my story, what I made up was that was my fault, that Reg had been put under this pressure to not only, you know, he gifted me 10,000, but then he had to find another 10,000 to then gift my brother to make it right in my mum's eyes. And, you know, he was really close to my mum. So there was all this going on. There was all this like drama going on. So obviously this memory of being gifted a car created all of this tension, you know, and all of this pressure. And in that moment, I'd made because this is what we do as humans. We make up a story. We make it about ourselves. We made up the story like, I didn't think my mum thought I was worthy of it. I was good enough. I deserved it, you know, all of this stuff's going on. So then I started to realise this is why I found receiving traumatic, right? And this kind of came back into my awareness as well, because a couple of months ago, my beautiful friend Natalie was holding a retreat and she wanted to gift me a place on this retreat, and I could not accept that gift. It was so hard for me to say, thank you, that'd be amazing. I was like, no, I'll pay you back. I'll do this. She was like, no, Laura, I want to gift it to you. You need to learn to receive. I was like, oh, me? But why do you want to give it to me? Because receiving was like a massive block for me. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. So I was like, okay. So I worked with that memory. You know, for those of you that you follow my journey, I've been doing a lot of like this inner healing. When we talk about releasing energetic blocks, when we talk about the inner work, you know, there's loads of tools out there, and this is what I do with myself and my clients, because I'm in it to work out, you know, to manifest these amazing things into my life. So I worked through all of this. A couple of days later, I just felt the need. So my guides were telling me, put an offer on your website, Laura, a 6-month offer, a high ticket price to work with you one-to-one. And I'm thinking in my mind, there's no way anyone is going to be signing up for me to work with me one-to-one. Now, when I worked out the price, this was over £7,000, right? It was a £7,000 offer to work with me one-to-one over a 6-month period. My story is that I'm not worthy for that. No one's going to pay me £7,000. Why would anybody think that I'm good enough to want to pay me £7,000 to work with me? And that was my story. So I put it on the website because I felt like my guides were telling me to do it. I felt they kept nagging me. It was like this thought that just kept coming into my head to do this. So I put it on my website, and then within maybe 3 days, I had a client sign up for that offer. My first client signed up for that offer. And the day after, she put the money in my bank, like all the money. £7,300 and something pounds straight into my bank account. I was like, whoa, just to work with me. Like little Laura, this is my story, little Laura who's not worthy, who's not good enough, who's not, just little Laura who feels like she's just not, you know, that person that anybody you'd want to work with. And and even though that happened, so I'd cleared the block about receiving, right? Then I've received this massive chunk of money, and I don't even feel like I have to do anything for it, because me working with somebody, me helping somebody, me being able to encourage and help clear these energetic blocks and help people to believe in themselves, that comes naturally to me, right? It's not work at all. It's just easy. This is just what I do. This is just me, you know? So trying to get my head around that, again, was quite traumatic to me, because it went against this identity that I had of myself, this helpless, not worthy little Laura. Why would any, and I say little Laura because that's like my inner child, this is who I'm trying to heal, to give me the belief in adult Laura to be able to move forward. Does that make sense? So then this happened, the lady, she transferred the money into my bank, and then the day after I got in the car and I just felt like I needed to scream, and I had tears streaming down my face and I was screaming. And this is when you do your energy release, and you realize this is how it comes out, you know. It can come out in tears, it can come out in anger, it can come out in screaming, it can come out in loads of different ways. Because if you think about everything in your life, every time something's happened and you've gone and you've just swallowed it down, that's you swallowing that emotion. That emotion stays in your body, and that emotion creates those energetic blocks that create your reality exactly as it is now. Does that make sense? So when that happened, it was traumatic, because it went completely against my identity of not being worthy, of not being good enough. Okay, so I had to like really face that and be like, oh my goodness, I am worthy, I am good enough, I do deserve this amount of money to work with me. Yeah, I do. And I was like, this is mental how this stuff works. So I just wanted to share that stuff with you, because I didn't even know that I had a block against receiving. Yeah, and this is just one of the money blocks. You know, we're all so conditioned in our lives. We're all so conditioned to have certain thoughts about money, beliefs about money, this, that and the other. It's just in our minds, right? None of it's true. And when we figure it out and when we dive deep in, then that's where we can start to uncover some of this stuff and work with some of the stuff and remove the energetic blocks in our lives. So for example, you know, maybe you're looking for love in your life, and maybe you've never found that right partner, or you know, you're struggling to just to find somebody in your life. But it's not about what you have to do to get there. It's about what's going on inside you that is stopping that from coming. So for me, the idea of receiving something like that was traumatic, and once I've cleared that, guess what, the doors are open now. You know, receiving is fun, and I've created, you know, such an amazing feeling around receiving, so I no longer have that block there. So it's just something to be aware of, right? Because this is something that we can all do. We've all got the most amazing power to create our own realities, but the first thing we need to do is put an awareness on what's going on with us energetically, the thoughts and beliefs that we have. You know, remember, when you're looking at somebody and you're thinking something about that person, that's just a reflection of you. Yeah, if you're thinking that person's this or that person's that, what you need to do is twist that round and be like, what's that saying about me? Yeah, because it all starts in here. It is all inside ourselves, and it's just about giving yourself love. It's about bringing awareness to what's going on and just working through these things, being brave enough to do it. Okay, so that was just a little example. You know, there's been loads of healing for me over the past few months, absolutely loads, and I'm gonna share all of that with you at some point, but I just thought those were two really, really interesting examples. So like I said, if you want to keep up to date with what I'm doing, jump on my mailing list, because I do try and keep up to that, even when I am, you know, on my healing journey or wherever in the world I am. And yeah, I just want to keep up to date, because I really do feel like the more I come into in alignment with my energy and clear out more of these blocks, I'm going to start to see some massive things unfold in my life. And that, my loves, is exactly what I'm here to help you guys do as well. So have a beautiful day. I love you all lots. So the other day I mentioned on my stories about blocks, beliefs, thoughts, emotions, identities, labels that we kind of have to get rid of before we can start to truly co-create with the universe and just create a life that we absolutely love. Now, I've just dropped a video into my Facebook community to explain some of these things that have just come up in my life in the past couple of weeks, all around money. We've all got money beliefs, we've all got money blocks. Even when you don't think that you do have beliefs or blocks, that is your subconscious protecting you from being aware of those things. Okay, we've all got repeated patterns in our lives. We've all got things that we wish we didn't have. We tell ourselves, we make stories up, oh, I'm not confident because this happened. I'm not this because of that happened. That's just what your consciousness is telling you to keep you protected from finding out what's going on deeper. Okay, which is sometimes, we listen to my story in the group. So I'll pop the link to the group on this video, and have a beautiful day.